Okay, last one for today. So this was an interesting one on the drum. Is B2B's budget excuse is getting tired. So this was a very interesting article that talked on the marketing side of things, how B2B brands um, basically, the article says that B2B brands lack creativity and lack the willingness to invest like B2C brands do. So I actually agree with this. And I actually think that, for those of you that are a B2B, and just full disclosure, about 80% of our clients are B2B. We've lived in the B2B world, business to business world. So businesses targeting other businesses literally for decades. So often it's higher ticket products, services that cost more, that are more complicated to close on the sales side of things, often many times have very lengthy sales cycles with a lot of different decision makers and influencers on the B2B side of things. And so, like what sorts of things have B2B has been comfortable with over the years? I'll tell you, SEO, PPC, right? Social media, primarily LinkedIn. Um, I would say a little bit of content marketing, having a blog, maybe doing some white papers or, different assets on that type of thing, doing webinar marketing, creating webinars and maybe some event marketing. That's about it. The point of this article, and I agree with this, is in today's world, B2Bs are doing business differently. And in order to do well and to really drive sales and really build your brand, you need to market more than just all the typical ways. And you need to be willing to invest in everything that I mentioned, not just one or two channels and let's see how it goes. No, because let me tell you why. I have a lot to say on this. Because if your sales cycle is 6 months or 9 months, meaning when someone comes in as a lead or a prospect for whatever product or service it is, and it takes 6 or 9 months for you to close a sale, that's the average. To do a quote unquote test, let's try it out for a few months, you're not going to know how effective that few month test is, whatever it is, for at least 9 months, 6 to 9 months after you end that test. And then what if that test, you realize, oh, this actually worked out really well? Then what do? Now you have to go back to what you did almost a year ago and try to replicate what you did. By then, the audience has probably shifted because things are moving very quickly. So the point is here, the advice is here, your B2Bs, invest properly in all the channels. Give it time. Tie it into your sales process effectively, because otherwise you will miss the mark. And take some budget to test things. I think that's another thing this article was trying to say, is the B2Bs lack creativity. I agree with that. Like, part of what we do for our own brand and our clients is we test every new marketing medium out there. We test every new tool, every new product, because you're not going to know if something's going to be viable unless you risk running some sort of a test. You have to take a calculated, small, intelligent, educated risk. But the point is test. So I don't know, Catherine, you want to chime in on this one?
So for me, the word budget is not fair to what it really is. You have to spend money to make money, period.
Yeah,
And in fact, you have to spend money with both B2B and B2C, because you have to stay in front of your customers for
right.
however long the sales cycle is. So if you don't have necessarily the money or a huge budget, you still need to find ways to be in front of your customers. You're either spending time or you're either spending money.
I agree with that. And I think that's a point that a lot of B2Bs miss the mark on, is they say, oh, well, I want to do better in SEO. I want to do better in GEO, better in content marketing, better in social media, all these things. The end result is we need to get more leads. We need to get more leads for our sales team, right? That's the goal. So in order for that to happen, you have to commit. You got to make a strategic decision and move forward. And like you said, Catherine, it's so simple. It's either you have the in-house expertise, you have individuals in your team that aren't, an intern that has no experience. It's not a marketing person, right? It's one thing if you have a marketing intern and they're building their skill set. That's different. But if you have someone, we've seen it, where you have like an office office manager or office person, or an admin in a team, and they're doing the marketing. Why is that happening? They should not be doing the marketing. Marketers should be doing the marketing at any level. It doesn't matter the level of where they're at in their career. So it's either you do it in house, or, like you said, Catherine, you hire an expert to do it. It's very simple. But the point is, B2Bs need to get out of their own way and need to market, because I'll tell you right now, the generative engine optimization, AI search, because I get asked this a lot. What is the most important thing businesses should be looking at today? The number one thing is get involved, get your brand, your product, your service visible in the conversation on all the AI platforms. That is the number one thing. And B2B is in a unique situation, right? Like because things are moving fast and B2B moves slower. If you're owner or director of marketing or VP of marketing in a mid-sized B2B company, you have the advantage. And get involved in AI search because your competition is not moving that fast. You move faster than them and get into it, you'll represent your brand better. Ultimately, you'll get much better business and much better leads from the LLMs. So that's it.
Agreed.